Hello, I'm AppyX Toycat, and welcome back to an episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Update Adventures Let's Play. And Minecraft is a wondrous game filled with wonderfully useful items. I mean, we've got the tuff, and the cookies, and the copper, and okay, these are all bad examples, but at least these items, even though they're less than useful, they still have some use within the game. If you're starving, cookies will be there for you. Even if you think copper isn't that useful, you have to admit you can use it to make some funky looking blocks. I mean, right now I could choose to mine 1,000 of it, and then I could decorate something in a really weird orange. Actually, wait, I say I could do that. I'm gonna go do precisely that. Well, I'll be right back a couple of hours. I have returned with an entire shulker box filled with raw copper. It was genuinely 2.5 hours of mining, but it's all worth it for the beautiful furnace wool, which we can now take all the copper out of to slowly heal my tools. Pro tip, by the way, if you need experience in the late game, one of the best ways is just fueling up furnaces with copper and then watching as it slowly goes out. Ores are a really great source of experience, and see, copper, it has an additional one in that you can use it for that. You can also turn it into a bunch of blocks, and now you've got a bunch of copper blocks. What could you do with these? I mean, imagine something as silly as like turning a whole room of the house into copper. By the way, if your tools break from all the mining you do, an easy way to mend them up is with the experience you get from this, an additional little extra use from the copper. But yeah, let's turn it into blocks now. I feel like I've got so many copper blocks, I've got to do something with it. And why not turn an entire room of my house into copper to show how old it is? See, really bad idea, but at least there's something I can do with copper, which I'm going to do right now. Yeah, that's actually really nice. I think it's a complementary color, and you know, it's funny because not every one of Minecraft's near useless blocks have this ability to redecorate your entire apartment. I mean, it's a really nice place right here. It's complementary colors. Not every block has this potential second use. A lot of them really do make you question, what can this even be used for? And let's go and gather some of those silly ones today, because I want to get the useless items in Minecraft en masse. First, I think we need to talk about one of the fundamentally dumb items in Minecraft, because when you harvest potatoes, you have a 99 in 100 chance of getting one of these potatoes. These are really questionably useful. I mean, when you eat them, you get half a heart. You can heat them up to make them somewhat okay, but for the most part, potatoes are just an easy food to farm. I recommend feeding them to villagers or people you don't really like, but if you really, really don't like someone, there's an item that does even better than the potato for this, because there's a 1 in 100 chance of getting one of these guys right over here. It looks like a potato, except obviously not at all. It looks like a very overgrown one, because you can get poisonous potatoes, and if you want to increase your odds, you can harvest more potatoes using a fortune pickaxe. You can get these poisonous potatoes. Let's find another one, by the way. You can get these, oh, there we go, that was one right there. That's another one right there. You can get these poisonous potatoes, which just poison you. Seriously, I've worked out, it's been years since they were added to the game. I've tried to work out what is the value in this thing. I mean, a regular potato, you can eat it and you can cook it, and it's at least somewhat useful. But let me show you how a poisonous potato works by deliberately lowering my hunger, because this is a little bit ridiculous if you ask me. That took way longer than I was expecting, by the way, but here we are eating a poisonous potato, and it just poisons you. You get, admittedly, only a few seconds of poison, enough to lose, you know, a heart and a half, but still, why is there an item that just poisons you? And, you know, again, this is a very ridiculous one, because I've tried to work out uses for this thing over the years, and the best one I can think of is it encourages you to, like, look carefully, because, you know, if you're not paying attention to which potatoes you're eating, you might accidentally eat the poisonous one, but it says in the name that it's poisonous. If it said underripe potato, now that is something. If it said, you know, potato with a little bit of spuds on there, probably don't worry about this, lol, then that would be something. But it says it's a poisonous potato, and it looks so poisonous, you really have to be desperate to eat one of these, and so it's the most pointless item. It's the least usable item, because even if you want to prank your friends, and let's be honest, I don't have any, I'm the one person for many, many thousands of miles around. If I wanted to prank my friends, these just wouldn't be very effective. But maybe that's because I don't have enough of them yet, so I'm gonna go on a big harvesting streak using my fortune pickaxe. Pro tip, even if you have a fortune shovel, that works too, but use a fortune pickaxe and you'll get more potatoes and carrots per block harvested, which means more poisonous potatoes. Maybe. I don't even know. You know, why are there any poisonous potatoes is my question. Like, what am I doing to grow these potatoes so wrong? Also, I think I just harvested like 300-400 potatoes without a single poison one. Well, there goes my grand idea. I went across my entire world and I could only find 21 of these things. And, you know, admittedly, if you want to get your hunger up and you don't mind taking a little bit of poison as a result, they're a really good item. Look at that. I'm at full health and full hunger. I hope for longer. Yeah, that's good. And it kind of shows one of the pointlessnesses of potatoes. I mean, even regular potatoes are really marginal in their value. Like, I just have a big potato auto smelter. I just throw them all in, and I'm never gonna actually take the cooked potatoes because once you have better food, why would you? However, it's really interesting that Minecraft has 4 types of crops. We're gonna come back for the use for these ones, by the way. 4 types of crops. We got potatoes at questionable use. We got the wheat, which does admittedly have a very good use for animals and for hay bales and for bread. This is a well looked after crop. And then we've got carrots, which are, again, like maybe good for early game when you can't afford to smelt food, or for late game when you get enough gold to make golden carrots. But even then, this is way more carrots than you'd need for golden carrots. It's maybe good for villager food as well. But then the 4th crop everyone forgets about is beetroot. This was added as a Bedrock exclusive, and honestly, the reasons why are still kind of lost on people today. And the thing you do with beetroot, right? This will blow your mind. You take the beetroot, and then you can eat it, and it gives you, whoa, look at that amazing hunger boost I just got. It's like a poisonous potato, but it doesn't even poison me. Whoa, next level. But the thing about the beetroot people misunderstand is beetroot actually is really useful. Why is that? There's a recipe that uses it. It uses some wood as well, but you just need 6 beetroot. It looks kind of ridiculous there, but 6 beetroot and a single bowl will allow you to make beetroot stew. In fact, I need to make that right now. Is there a reason that the ocelot is staring so intently at those pandas? There's probably not. He just enjoys looking at pandas. You know, don't we all, buddy? With our floating front legs. Anyway, let's go find some wood. You know, I'm also gonna organize this recipe the way I think it should be done. Like, let's be honest, 6 beetroot and 1 bowl should go that way around. This makes way more sense than like that. To me, you know, I know shapeless crafting recipes are a thing and we can do whatever we want, but I just feel like this is a beetroot shield. Anyway, this is beetroot soup, and it's like perfectly fine as a food. It will heal you for 3 full hunger bars, so like honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world. Regular beetroot is the worst thing. You'd be better off eating regular potatoes. You might be better off eating poisonous potatoes because they've got double the healing, and if you eat enough of them, you'll counteract the poison effect. But beetroot soup is where it's at, and the reason for that is because you get a whole stack of beetroot, and apparently a stack of beetroot seeds too. And now with that 1 stack, you can make a bowl of the soup. Then you eat it. Then you can make another bowl, and it's slightly better for 1 bowl output than a carrot or a potato or even a cooked potato is. So I actually can say that beetroot soup has some value until you remember that mushroom stew exists. Mushroom stew is made exactly the same as beetroot stew, but instead of taking 6 beetroot, it takes a single brown and single red mushroom, heals the same amount, and here's the crazy bit. Brown and red mushrooms used to be somewhat rare, but in the years since then, they've made them spawn in just about every biome in giant forms. It's not hard to get your hands on these. In fact, it's easier to get your hands on brown and red mushrooms than it usually is for beetroot soup. Also, you can't make suspicious beetroot soup, and so just in general, beetroot isn't very good as a food source, and so beetroot isn't very useful because it's just a food source, right? You would assume, until you realize there's a secret, maybe sort of use that we're gonna totally be proving is worthwhile. So beetroot, they're on the absolute garbage tier list. They're not very good at anything. Besides, if you can't find mushrooms, and if you can't find mushrooms in your world, you probably have bigger problems. But just, you know, there's a small chance you don't have bigger problems. You're very happy with your life, and you're glad that beetroots exist. It's just a very small chance. Needless to say, I've got a sky-high wheat farm, and I've got this many beetroots, and I think I need to cut down on the number of beetroots I farm at a time, because it just feels like it's too many whenever I come by. So anyway, yeah, that is that should hopefully put them in perspective for you. But there's one other item which really makes me question its value every single time. So the entire brewing section of Minecraft has felt a little neglected at times since it came out like 10 years ago, and one of the silliest bits to me is in how they've revitalized it over the years and made some weird stuff. So yeah, potions, you know, they have varying amounts of usefulness. Do you want a jump boost to potion? Maybe not. Do you want to have healing? Probably. Do you want to poison something? I mean, in a survival solo world, maybe not so much. So we're gonna do our classic potion brewing process. You just have to throw some Neverwarts in there and it makes some angry water. I guess these are actually the potion of Minecraft players, am I right? Hey, yeah, see, that's funny when it's mean. And now we just have to throw in something else with there. We got some rabbit's foot, or we can go more fun with this. And you see these phantom membranes? We can throw one of those in there and make ourselves a brand new potion. So again, this is supposedly the biggest benefit of the phantom, and I actually do think that brewing some slow falling potions has some value. I mean, it has a lot more value than just water that has some Neverwart vaguely in there. You know, this is some real herbal medicine BS, which by the way, you can drink if you want to. I don't think you should. But yeah, this is the good stuff right here. Slow falling potions. And something you might not have known you could do with slow falling potions is, we'll craft a cauldron right now and throw that right in there. So yeah, this is, handily enough, this is like a Bedrock exclusive that I really actually enjoy. You can, if instead of having to use Dragon's Breath and stuff like that, if you want to make something silly, just fill a cauldron with your potions. So each of these takes up one of the 3 slots in there. So fill it with your potions. And now if you really want to, you can refill it at any point in time. I think that's handy enough by itself. Being able to fill up a cauldron, very, very useful, makes the slow falling potion better. However, this is also an easier way. Let's say you've got a bunch of arrows you want to craft into things. This is an easy way to tip those arrows. Do you see that? It took the entire cauldron, but now I have an entire stack of slow falling arrows. And that sounds amazing. That sounds really, really good. We can do the same outside if we want to. So I'll take another stack of arrows. So I have a cauldron just chilling out here anyway, and I'll take an entire stack of arrows and, oh, I guess the cauldron isn't filled enough. Let's try a half stack of arrows. Okay, something about whatever is inside there cannot be tipped. In fact, it might just be dyed water now that I look at it. But yeah, basically, you can take... Wait, can we use a tiny part of a stack? So let's use these jump boost potions. Let's throw it in there just a little bit. Then let's see if we can enchant an entire stack or not. Oh, you get 16 per potion in there. So now we've got 16 jump boost arrows and we've got 64 slow falling arrows, which honestly, you know, again, when you're thinking about healing, you're thinking about strength, having arrows for those can be useful, even if it's PvP. So you hit your friends with a healing arrow, now they'll be healing up a little bit faster. You can see that maybe having a value. It's really, really niche, but it's something. When do you ever need to hit something with slow falling for 11 seconds or jump boost for 11 seconds? I want to show you how ridiculous this is right now by going on a bit of a PvP journey. However, before I give you a fun demonstration of my new arrows, I actually, it turns out my potatoes have changed name. Wow. How could that have happened? I have no idea, certainly. And now we have potatoes, which might just fool someone, right? I mean, look at the green arrow. Look at the way it's got those weird sparkly green things coming off it. Look at the potato. It's just the jump boost. And so yeah, given that my world is available on the Minecraft Marketplace, some people do download it and like to look around, just for a little prank for people doing that in the future. You know what would be fun is if we put in the starter chests some of these potatoes of jump boost. Because you eat them and you think, wow, I'm going to be able to jump over this fence and then, haha, got you good. So yeah, we'll just honestly, yeah, let's replace some of that mutton with the potato of jump boost. Do you think people will fall for it, internet? Do you think it's gonna work? Okay, so now let's show off these new arrows we have. So, pro tip, when you've got 2 types of arrows, how does the bow know which one to use? It's whichever one is closer to the top left of your inventory. So right now, it's going to use the arrow of leaping because it's on the left side of the bow. And if we replace the 2, it does the same. So here we go, fire 1, it uses this arrow. We switch the 2 placements. And now it uses this one. Just to prove that it is definitely that way, if I move this all the way to the top left, even though now the jump boost arrow is technically closer to the bow, it's not about the closeness that matters. As you can see, we use a slow falling arrow. However, if an item happens to be in your inventory, as in your hotbar slots, I should say, then it overrides any of those rules. And even though it's, like, as you can see, it's slightly further away, it still uses it anyway. Also, because these are potion tipped arrows, always pick them up because, you know, if you don't hit something, it's better not to do that. And now let me show you the value that you can get from these 2 things. It is truly incredible. Okay, you see this, right? There's a cow up there on the little pillar. He wants to go nice and high. I'm gonna okay. Well, you see that cow over there? I'm gonna give him a nice little gentle tap. Yeah, you see that? He's got jumping powers now. You can't actually see that in any way, and I think he still died. I'm pretty sure he still, oh no, there he is. He's just chilling now with jump boost because wow, do cows not jump? What mobs do jump in Minecraft? What mobs can take advantage of this leaping 2 effect, which by the way is 11 seconds long? Probably like the slimes and the magma cubes, right? So let's go to the Nether right after we pick up some terracotta, because I'm gonna use these beetroot and you're gonna love my value for them. I don't have any terracotta, so I'm actually gonna have to make my own, which is fitting because I do have those furnaces still running. I hope, at least. Are they still running? You know, some of them are still running. And now we can throw in the clay and turn it into terracotta. Probably. Okay, yeah, we got some backed up furnaces here. It is insane how fast copper has repaired all of my tools, by the way. Like, for real, do you see that? It's just my shovel with a tiny bit left to go right now. And even that, I think it'll be done soon. So yeah, pro tip, you need experience. You want to heal up your tools. Just gotta smelt too much copper, apparently. Like, I genuinely don't even know what to do with it all at this point. Like, do I make some cut copper? Do I make lightning rods? Lightning rods are fun. I'll have to work that out as my terracotta comes due. So here's the funny thing, making terracotta this way is actually like really inefficient, I would say. The best way to get terracotta en masse is not to sit at some furnaces, because you have to mine clay anyway, which involves going to a specific biome. So go to the specific biome that is the mesa, and the reason we're not going there is because it would make this look a little bit sillier. See, even though smelting up terracotta is great because it allows me to show my secret purpose for beetroot, that's right, throw it in the crafting table, you get red dye. Wow, red dye can be used to make red shulker boxes. That actually does sound pretty good. I think, yeah, I'll make one of these red. You know, that'd be a cool little color to add onto that. So we'll make a red shulker box. Wow, how wonderful that is. And then we'll also make a bunch of red terracotta. Wow, what could we do of red terracotta, which looks suspiciously similar to regular terracotta? Let me show you right now. Do you ever find yourself in the Nether thinking, wow, this Netherrack sure is an ugly block, but if I replace it with stone or something blue, it'll look too obvious? Well, then here is the value in beetroot. You can make some red terracotta real easy, and it basically looks like Netherrack. I mean, all you gotta do is replace it one by one, and wow, you see that? It's like a smooth transition from Netherrack to actually real blocks that a person would use in a real build. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yes, it is. Also, you see all these fires from just years of ghast explosions I haven't dealt with? Oh, can we just replace the fires with terracotta? Which, by the way, terracotta doesn't burn infinitely, so if this does catch fire, it won't be a problem. Yes, we can. We can run around the world, finally fixing the overfire problem. And then, as we do so, we're also preventing it in the future. Yeah, that's right, red terracotta looks vaguely like Netherrack. I'd say red concrete's probably a closer match, but this is a boring texture, which is what you want for the Nether. It's meant to be a boring place, right? This will allow you to fireproof your Nether, which sounds ridiculous, but sometimes you want it. And also, you know, people love depth of textures where you just add random blocks in there and go, yeah, I'm basically a master builder now. And, basically, I'm a master builder now. I mean, if you look around right here, you can see all the skill that is going into these placements. Some would say it's random, but those people don't know the artiste nature that goes with the work. You know, sometimes when you're really good at Minecraft, this is what you do. And oh, do you hear some, do you see a zombie pigman over there? Oh, you know what would really solve my problems with him is if I shot him with an arrow of slow falling. Because now if he tries to come after me, you know what's going to happen? He's going to slow fall down all the blocks, and he's not going to be able to get here on time. Okay, actually, I think he will. You see how long it takes him to go up and down places? It's ridiculous. Actually, I reckon we got to do this from like a really decent height, just to really appreciate this a bit more. Okay, this is a zombie pigman right next to the edge. I want him gone, but I don't want him to die because I'm not a murderer. So we shoot him, and he... Now he's angry sitting on top of my tunnel, which is never going to cause me any problems ever again, that's for sure. And the inverse is if we want to shoot that guy with leaping arrows, just so that he, like, you know... Oh. Well, you know, this is the problem with powerful bows, is like, you don't actually get to infect most things, and the few mobs that have enough health... Oh, actually, let's leaping hit the ghast. Oh. That was weird, though. That was something. Yeah, the problem is honestly, bows are too powerful to really take advantage of most pipped effects in survival. The few mobs that have enough health for you to enjoy this, think about them. Like, you've got the boss mobs, none of them are affected by potions. The Wither will never slow fall. So maybe you've got the Ravager, and then, like, I don't know, like a Hoglin. Both of those mobs, you could make jump slightly higher, or you could make... It's not a very compelling use. But wait till we find some magma cubes. Or actually, you know, okay. These guys seem to go up in the air. Do they jump to go up or do they float? Let's find out, I guess. Okay, so is he gonna flow up faster or not? I don't actually know how this is gonna go. Does that look faster to you, internet? I can't be sure. It's weird that there's a lot of wither skeletons around here. They are a mob that has a lot of health for what it's worth, so... Okay, let's do this. Let's shoot a wither skeleton. Let's see how he feels about that. I don't think he feels much about that at all. Okay, I'm shooting all of them with leaping. Even when they're jumping up, you can barely see it, so okay. Leaping arrows, we're still working on the useful. Beetroot, however, just ignore it. Don't think of it as, wow, this is a farm that I get food from that's worthless. No, think about it as a red, it's a red wool farm. It's a red terracotta farm. It's a red stained glass farm. Never do you have to worry about these blocks in the wild again because you can get them right from your trusty local beetroot farm. And the poisonous potato, someone is going to be tricked by that. At some point, even if they know that the trick's coming, they'll be like, well, Toycat wouldn't do this. And it'll be like, haha, I cashed in years of goodwill and whatnot solely for this one joke, and then that's worthwhile, right? That's a good decision to make. And so yeah, red terracotta plus poisonous potatoes, they're both really useful. Except the poisonous potato thing, most people don't have hundreds or thousands of strangers looking around their world, and also. By the way, that will take a few months for that to update because it's every few months that Microsoft goes through and does this. But the second thing I want to mention is, wow, red terracotta is useful, right? But here's the problem. Here's where this whole thing falls down. Even if these arrows are just silly, fun, colorful effects, I mean, seriously, something looks wrong about them, right? Can we just agree on that? Like, something looks weird about the effects when you're looking in third person. But the big value proposition fail with red being useful as a dye is even red terracotta. The one way you'd get it is you do the classic, you dig through your nether for about 1,000 blocks. We all know the name of the game with the tunnel. This is how it's going right now, by the way. It's very big. I think it's very impressive. Like for real, this used to all just be Netherrack, and we've carved through the entire thing up until this point where it gets a bit messier. But with a short visual cut, it looks like the whole thing is basically done if you ignore the size change right here. But yeah, the reason I went through all of that is because this side of the tunnel, the reason I'm digging it all is not just where my deep dark, my ancient city mining project is. If you haven't seen that, this is what it looks like right now. It's covered in these lovely strays, and all those minecarts which are currently being emptied. But it's not just this, it's not just a jungle even. Just past this snow biome, it's actually really strange if you think about it, that like, there is a snow biome next to a jungle, and then past the snow biome, what is there on the other side? Oh, it's a desert. Oh wait, it's not just a desert, it's a mesa biome. Yeah, if you want red terracotta, honestly, worst case scenario, you mine regular terracotta from this place. It's the most common block, but it's not like red terracotta is horrifically uncommon either. Oh, actually, I only see orange, yellow, and white right now. You know, maybe I'm justified. Oh, I was gonna make the counterpoint to why you would never actually use red dye for terracotta, but I think I only see yellow and orange. Yeah, we found a value. Okay, beetroot. I mean, getting terracotta's easy. You just mine it from this place. But there's no red terracotta that I see, and I'm gonna stop looking. Oh no, yeah, I should have stopped looking. Why did I not do this to myself? Well, if you ignore this red terracotta, which isn't enough to cover your nether, it's just one little patch, then yeah, you still need to mine terracotta, which is why I think I want to mine a mesa biome. Maybe not the entire thing. This is a ludicrous section of it. I think I want to mine a giant, like, tunnel or like, stretch, like canyon through this thing. Like, imagine this section right here. It goes very long this way, and then is that like a little gap in it, and then it goes again, and then I feel like rather than having this, it'd be cool to have a giant flattened section through it. Why would that be cool? I mean, why is anything cool? There we go. That's that's the catch-all answer. Now I don't have to justify myself. But yeah, an upcoming project that I want to do. Honestly, I'm really worried that between recording and releasing this, I get the urge too strong and I decide to do this anyway. But like, I need to get my hands on a ton of terracotta anyway, right? I need to be mining these blocks. And so let's get the terracotta. Let's get the orange terracotta. And then while we're here, let's get the yellow terracotta too. And then there's some green hidden down in there. Let's get a ton of colors of terracotta while also making a cool project through the mesa. Because right now, actually, in fact, yeah, let's line it up with my tunnel that's going underground. Because over here, this is a very strange biome clash, by the way. Look how thick the snow is. Maybe I should cover this thing in snow at some point or something. But yeah, as you can see over here, I have just my sudden drop where my minecart rail goes underground. And it goes underground in what is technically this icy biome. And so you don't even know that you're under a mesa the entire time. Actually, where is the minecart tracks? You know, they're around here somewhere, okay? You just gotta trust me on that one. This is such a weird biome. You go up and down and through snow at like seemingly arbitrary intervals. It's very, very weird stuff. But imagine if there was some reason as to why that mesa biome right over there existed next to the snow. Maybe the snow came in on top of the mesa biome and that's what it'll look like if we destroy that biome effectively. So I'm gonna do like a little bit of preliminary work on it right now. I'm just gonna dig a very tiny trench. I mean, I say tiny trench, but let's mine through that just to see what it looks like to destroy the big unbroken rock formation we have right here. I think it'll look pretty cool. So this is gonna be our little test section. We're gonna be mining it away and it's gonna be wonderful. And I guess, honestly, yeah, this area right here, it's basically begging me, dig through these 3 blocks, just see what it looks like. Is it interesting? Is it not? I've never found out. And usually I have the, you know, the series of like survival projects I shouldn't try and survival, but I feel like this is a pretty manageable one. If we just take a few blocks at a time and then work out a scope of the project first, it'll be much better in the end run, or maybe it won't. Maybe this is one of those things where you have to commit and then work out if it's terrible later, but sometimes that's life, isn't it? Speaking of sometimes things being life, white terracotta is the biggest lie in the world. Some would say this is a useless block. But no, yeah, I'm using the word useless a lot in this video. Probably even in the title, let's be honest. It's nice and evocative of emotions and feelings. But there is something to be said about not, you know, typical use is a hard thing to justify in a game because items having no use seems pointless by itself, but it really makes you appreciate every other item more. It's the weird thing about real life too, like people who live in the richest societies, like, I don't know, if you live in a rich Western country, your definition of poor is vastly different to that of the global. You know, like if you're in the bottom 5% in the US, for example, you're still in the global, you know, top 20%. It's insane the you know, the level of differences, and you don't realize something because you're not surrounded by it. So by having a few useless items here or there is an argument that Minecraft is actually showing you like, wow, look how well we considered every item in this game. Sure, the Potion of Turtle Master is questionably useful, but at least it's not the poisonous potato where it just exists. And although personally I would love to see I would love to see the poison potato used in a potion. I would love to see beetroot given some more, you know, unique or interesting recipes. I would love if the potion-tipped arrows had some extra benefit for survival players, you know, solo survival players, I should say. But even though I would love all of those things, and there's a ton of other ideas I could give, you know, the question of what is usefulness really does start to come up. I mean, even this project right here, why am I doing it? This has no use in and of itself. Right now, it's just a proof of concept of something greater. Like, it's something that's later going to expand into something. And honestly, that's where I feel copper genuinely is. It technically has a use right now. Copper will be amazingly useful after they find out that application we just haven't found yet. I think, you know, amethyst is like pretty good right now. It'll be really, really good when they work it out. Every item in Minecraft has this like phase where it's like, really, is that it? And then later they work out what that it is. If you try and work out the perfect end game value for something immediately, you're never going to get there. I think, you know, understanding that things take time in the same way this Minecraft project takes a little bit of time is an important thing. And ultimately, you know, the world is filled with things that don't have, you know, because there's a fun argument about art versus, you know, like utility versus art. Do things have to be useful, or do they just have to provide joy? Is this Let's Play useful to anyone? Are you actually learning anything from this? Maybe you learned how you can trick your friends with poisonous potatoes. If you have hundreds of friends who are very dumb and or illiterate, let's not be unfair to your illiterate friends. You might be able to trick them. I don't actually think you can, but it's a nice idea. Actually, wait, if your friends are illiterate, is it mean to trick them? Maybe instead of me being like, wow, look at this great thing, we'd still be like, yeah, that's not a good thing you should be doing. But yeah, no, there's a real question about utility versus art we should be having on a more common basis. I usually am the sort of person who argues for utility. Like, sometimes there'll be like this huge development where we're like, yeah, we put aside 3,000 square meters of space to make a giant art exhibit. And it's like, well, I mean, wouldn't you rather have, like, I don't know, shops or housing, you know, something that provides value? But I think that's the eternal debate in the world. I didn't realize how big of a debate it really was until I had a call with the people at Patreon forever ago when they were wondering like why certain people don't use the platform, and they realized there was this big problem that they were a platform focused on artists only. That like people who are like, yeah, man, just like give me the money so I can like do the thing, rather than providing value propositions. They wanted people to expand into the idea of like, here is something you're providing for people, here's something you get back in return. I think we like you know, as an example of the membership on this channel, like it's like, yeah, we do something like that. You get all these forms of recognition, and you also get a fun little icon that lets people know you're a member, and you also get the weird videos that I couldn't make public on this channel. You know, as an example, like I'm not trying to sell your memberships right now, but if I was, I could tell you, you can hit the join button right now. No, but more seriously, there's an eternal debate between like utility and like the, you know, the art value of something. Because if you it's funny because even though I'm someone who believes really heavily in the utility side of that debate, of course things should matter for their value. And you might be like, yeah, of course, Toycat, how is there even a debate here? If you think about the Soviet style you know, the tower blocks. So, you know the type, okay, there's one on screen right now. I think just Soviet-style apartment building will find you versions of this. Everyone knows this thing. It's like, it's the stereotype of what happens all over Eastern Europe in the communist part of Europe, because, like, yeah, the government needed to build houses as quickly as possible. They're fairly fine houses. They're not terrible, but despite the fact that they're just fine, they're seen as awful because they're copy and paste, and there's no beauty to them. It's just the minimum required to house people, and people like to live somewhere special. It's this funny thing where, like, yeah, objectively we can look at the world and say, you know, like if you look at a pasta recipe, it should be the most flavor for the, you know, the best price and the easiest time to cook or something. I don't know. Those are the things you care about when making a pasta. But ultimately, like, don't you also care about a pasta dish that looks good on Instagram? Don't you want a pasta dish that is, like, interesting and different in some weird, non-definable way? You know, reminds you of when grandma used to cook? Dumb stuff like that, we do care about. And, yeah, one of the things that is kind of hard to go through is working out where do you draw the line on art having value, where, because, you know, like, again, you can go way over the top. You can see modern art galleries where it's like, here is a banana peel on the ground, this will cost you $6,000 to buy. That's ridiculous, probably, to most people. I feel like most people would probably say that's ridiculous, and most people would also say that the zero art style that goes into those Soviet blocks also kind of ridiculous. There's this funny line we have where everyone has a certain amount of like uniqueness and identity they want and stuff, but we're also all picking slightly different amounts, and it causes a big nightmare to develop. So this is what we have so far. It's a good proof of concept, right? It's I like the vibe of like, yeah, this is so unbroken, so to have like a big man-made shape going through it, pretty interesting actually. Okay, bit of a crazy idea here, and hear me out. What if instead of digging a big tunnel, like a trench going through there, what if instead I turned the mesa into a staircase? I mean, if you look at the mesa, it's like a disaster to climb. It's got big, unbroken faces, just like in real life. If you go to that one desert in California, it's like, wow, it's very, very, very steep, and that's why the free solo rock is there. It's Yosemite, that's what I'm thinking of. Yosemite is very, very steep, and it's good for climbing, and blah, 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 blah. However, why don't we make a more accessible mesa biome? I think we could probably go a little bit less extreme than this staircase back here, but imagine if we followed this staircase in every block from here onwards. So we mine it one block further this way, and then we just have a huge mesa-style staircase, except it's all the blocks that would have originally been there. So it's like we just carve into the mountain. I feel like that's more impressive. When you make your impact on a world, it's kind of nice. And in fact, if we wanted to go another layer over the top on this, we could make the steps 2 blocks wide each. So we could go, you know, just for example, we could go like an extra block over here, and then an extra block here. And then that just makes the staircase a bit more accessible, you know? And I think that might be a better look too. Because just a you know, regular staircase, it's easy, but I think we want a little bit of depth. Maybe even every other step, we go 2 and 1 and then 2 and 1 or something. But I think there's just something nicer about the gradient there. We're trying to bring this into our version of nature, right? Something like that. But yeah, it's funny because the art versus utility thing, the business, or, you know, in some cases this is business versus art. I think there is a real the real pit at the bottom of society is like, who is best equipped to run a bit? You know, like, do you want to go to a local cafe or do you want to go to Starbucks? is a fun question, because everyone would say like, oh, I like the sound of that local cafe. But if you've ever actually been to a Starbucks and you've ever been to a local cafe in the same town, it's shocking that I went to for my friend's birthday recently. I went to a bunch of different pubs. Pubs are a big business in the UK. There's like 10 of them in this very small town. I don't know how they all stay in business, but like 2 or 3 of them were chain pubs, and they were all very, very busy. And a few of them were local. One I went into, there was one other guy there. It was World Cup night. It's a Saturday evening too. And it's like, man, that's like sad. That's like a problem that they have no one here. And it's like, yeah, because like, how are you going to attract people? It sounds very fun to go locally owned, etc. But people like predictable experiences. People like, maybe another way we could put this is like emotion versus rationale. Do you want the very, very predictable coffee, or do you want the wild experience? Who knows if it's good? Who knows if it's bad? Could be amazing, could be awful. Only way to find out is to just go for it, I guess. And maybe some people don't want to just go for it. But yeah, the staircase, I think the staircase as the idea is definitely the one to go with. We could even start following the natural contour off the mesa a little bit. So the staircase, for instance, as it gets over here, it would go back a few blocks. And that way it would still have a somewhat natural vibe. But I love the way this is coming about. I think we're going to destroy most of a mesa biome to make it more accessible. And is that art? Is that me destroying nature? Or is that... See, if this was the real world, there'd be like huge protests if I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go take Yosemite National Park and I'm just going to dig at it until it's all wheelchair accessible. People would be like, you know, we appreciate your... I mean, I guess that's not wheelchair accessible at all, is it? But we appreciate your concern to make this better for the lesser able people. But also, as nice as that is, I feel like you've done something wrong. And so, in a way, we prefer the Yosemite. It really is beautiful. That's why it's shown up on screen all these times. We prefer that Yosemite be useless by making uses out of these places. You know, national parks are in the US and the UK, they're just places. But in national parks in the US or Canada or countries around the world are there specifically to keep things useless, because useless things are prettier than things of a value. And isn't that interesting? I guess it's got a nature value, but like, who's going to Yosemite to look at the ducks? Not me. Actually, that sounds like a thing I should do. You know, I'll let you know how my Yosemite duck visit goes. But for now, I hope you found this to be an interesting or useful experience. If you have, you might value becoming a member, or you might want to see live streams, which I of course do in this world somewhat frequently. It's going to include me destroying a mesa sometime soon, making it more accessible. And if you believe in accessibility, or Minecraft, or me, then you should totally subscribe, maybe with notifications turned on, or become a member, and check that out. If you want to see videos like Toycat bathing in Iron Brew, or even better, me and Harrison, we teamed up to try and beat Minecraft, but I was blindfolded. It went so well that we had to make it a member-only video. It's definitely not the opposite. So yeah, if you want to check that out, you should do so. But I've been IBX Toycat, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.